11 March 2011, a magnitude 9 earthquake struck the northeastern coast of Japan. This triggered a deadly tsunami and nuclear concerns. Responding to the call for help was Cape Town-based firefighter Suzanne Matejek, who formed part of South Africa's urban search and rescue team.
It was just absolute devastation. I've never in my life seen something like that, and I hope to never see something like that again. We had buses on top of 3-story buildings. Another bus wrapped around the corner of a building, and it was like chaos. It was like I said once before, it was like a complete movie. Didn't seem real at all, but extremely sad.
She says it was tough working in bitterly cold conditions and was unable to comprehend the amount of lives destroyed.
Well, number one, the cold, definitely. I mean, it was -10 at night, and we were not prepared for that. Number two, I think the equipment that we brought, half of it we couldn't even use because of the way that everything was just lying on top of each other. It was impossible to use some of the tools. We had to just go in and use our hands and dig in there and crawl into little spaces. And it was just, I think, coming to terms with the amount of loss of life was the biggest challenge.
Suzanne, along with 44 other local rescuers, flew to Japan to help search for survivors and aid victims. Besides the thousands of lives lost, reports estimate the financial damages cost Japan around $300 billion.
Because you're taking 30 tons of equipment within food and water and all that kind of stuff, and you need to go directly to ground zero. You can't catch connecting flights and all that kind of thing. So just the aircraft was around 6 million rand. It's a very expensive exercise. A lot of the assistance we got was from the public and from donations and that kind of thing, and that get managed by our logistics people. And the kind of equipment, a lot of it is what we did was we did deep void, what we call deep void penetration. So you're basically going into an area where you have to dig very deep into debris and to buildings, and you actually have to go really deep in there. So you use electronic cameras, that can penetrate. We used victim locating devices, very much the kind of equipment that was used at the recent mine disaster up in Mpumalanga.
Commemorating 5 years since the disaster and to honor South Africa, Japan recently paid tribute to the rescuers at ceremonies in Cape Town and Pretoria.
5 years ago, one of the biggest earthquakes hit northeastern part of Japan, and tsunami struck the coastline, and we lost 20,000 people. And only 5 days after the tsunami, South Africa dispatched a rescue team to Japan, the only country in Africa that sent a rescue team. And it was a very cold winter, and they worked hand in hand with the Japanese local police and firefighters to find survivors and to ease the livelihood of the victims. And we are very appreciative that they came all the way, half around the world, to help us.
And they did an extraordinary job by all accounts. So the expertise of the South Africans was highly appreciated and now recognized. And they've come back with a lot of additional skills and knowledge to deal with really terrible disasters. And so it's a very warm feeling, and we're very proud of the expertise in disaster management that we have in South Africa.
As life after the earthquake somewhat returns back to normal, Suzanne and her teammates can be proud of their efforts during difficult times. Benedict Pather, CNBC Africa, Cape Town.